Hi, I am Amy Richter. I serve as a priest in the parish of Pasadena and Cormac in Newfoundland, Labrador. Equity for Aboriginal people in the legal system. Number 50. In keeping with United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, we call upon the federal government, in collaboration with Aboriginal organizations, to fund the establishment of Indigenous law institutes for the development, use, and understanding of Indigenous laws and access to justice in accordance with the unique cultures of Aboriginal peoples in Canada. 51. We call upon the Government of Canada, as an obligation of its fiduciary responsibility, to develop a policy of transparency by publishing legal opinions it develops and upon which it acts or intends to act in regard to the scope and extent of Aboriginal and treaty rights. 52. We call upon the Government of Canada, provincial and territorial governments, and the courts to adopt the following legal principles. Aboriginal title claims are accepted once the Aboriginal claimant has established occupation over a particular territory at a particular point in time. Once Aboriginal title has been established, the burden of proving any limitation on any rights arising from the existence of that title shifts to the party asserting such a limitation. National Council for Reconciliation. 53. We call upon the Parliament of Canada, in consultation and collaboration with Aboriginal peoples, to enact legislation to establish a National Council for Reconciliation. The legislation would establish the Council as an independent, national, oversight body with membership jointly appointed by the Government of Canada and national Aboriginal organizations, and consisting of Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal members. Its mandate would include, but not be limited to, the following: monitor, evaluate, and report annually to Parliament and the people of Canada on the Government of Canada's post-apology progress on reconciliation, to ensure that government accountability for reconciling the relationship between Aboriginal peoples and the Crown is maintained in the coming years. Monitor, evaluate, and report to Parliament and the people of Canada on reconciliation progress across all levels and sectors of Canadian society, including the implementation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's call to action. Develop and implement a multi-year national action plan for reconciliation, which includes research and policy development, public education programs, and resources. Promote public dialogue, public-private partnerships, and public initiatives for reconciliation. Number 54. We call upon the Government of Canada to provide multi-year funding for the National Council for Reconciliation, to ensure that it has the financial, human, and technical resources required to conduct its work, including the endowment of a National Reconciliation Trust to advance the cause of reconciliation. 55. We call upon all levels of government to provide annual reports or any current data requested by the National Council for Reconciliation so that it can report on the progress towards reconciliation. The reports or data would include, but not be limited to, the number of Aboriginal children, including Métis and Inuit children, in care, compared with non-Aboriginal children, the reasons for apprehension, and the total spending on preventive and care services by child welfare agencies. Comparative funding for the education of First Nations children on and off reserves. the education and income attainments of Aboriginal peoples in Canada compared with non-Aboriginal people. Progress on closing the gaps between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal communities in a number of health indicators, such as infant mortality, maternal health, suicide, mental health, addictions, life expectancy, birth rates, infant and child health issues, chronic diseases, illness and injury incidents, and the availability of appropriate health services. Progress on eliminating the overrepresentation of Aboriginal children in youth custody over the next decade. Progress in reducing the rate of criminal victimization of Aboriginal people, including data related to homicide and family violence victimization and other crimes. Progress on reducing the overrepresentation of Aboriginal people in the justice and correctional systems. 56. We call upon the Prime Minister of Canada to formally respond to the report of the National Council for Reconciliation by issuing an annual State of Aboriginal Peoples report, which would outline the government's plans for advancing the cause of reconciliation.